Hello and welcome to Catalyst Chronicles. I'm Seth Dunn, and I use this video series as an opportunity to tell stories from the mission field. Stories that have a high impact on me, stories that I hope as I share them with you will mean something to you and even give you maybe a way to apply a truth and so forth. You may notice that I'm not in my normal set, at my normal location. I'm actually on site in Florida. Sandra and I have been here for the better part of a month, serving with a local church, providing them with some great variety of services, and it's been a great joy. So I'm shooting today from Florida. I want to share a story with you today that it's near and dear to my heart. It's near and dear to my heart because it blessed me, it changed me, it impacted me. I hope it does the same for you. So as a young man, excuse me, in my, probably I was 18 or 19. It would have been right in that range, maybe early 20s. I had the privilege of leading and participating in many a mission trip to the United Kingdom, England specifically. And you may think, United Kingdom, how could there be good impact there? Well, let me share with you something that powerfully impacted me. We had participated in many church services during the course of this particular mission trip that we were on, and we had blessed people with song and worship. We had prayed with people. We had encouraged people. We had done street outreach. We had done lots of different kinds of ministry, but I was not prepared for what was about to happen. We were in a church service, and we'd been sharing our hearts, sharing testimonies, like I say, leading in worship and so forth. And we got to a point in the service where we said, hey, if you would like prayer, we would be honored to pray with you. And so we just invited people to that experience, of God touching them and blessing them just by us praying for them. So what happened, I wasn't prepared for. A mom brought her baby forward. This was a newborn baby, very young. Obviously, this was a baby that could not speak to us, that could not communicate with us. But the mom brought her baby, and she said to us, I've had my baby at the doctor, and the doctor has confirmed that my baby is deaf. And we were like, oh, wow. I mean, remember I said we were in our late teens, early 20s. And honestly, I'll tell you honestly, what went through me was, okay, so the doctors have confirmed your baby's deaf. What do you want me to do about that? Right? I mean, in and of ourselves, we're not full of that kind of power and the ability in of ourselves to make a difference in that situation, right? And as a young man, I also had not spent much time praying for people. I had never seen anybody healed or that kind of thing. I had done some praying for people and so forth, and certainly knew that God could use us. But what was about to happen, it literally changed me to this day, continues to shape and mold me. So as young people, not highly skilled or trained in the art of praying for people, and particularly in a situation like this where the mom's heart is just breaking because her baby, her child, her offspring had a malady that was definitely troublesome to her. This baby was deaf. That's a big deal, right? So what we did is what we knew to do. And honestly, I think there's a lesson even in that, is that's all God's asking of us, is that we do what we know to do. So this group of young people, me included, what we knew to do was to gather around the mom and begin to worship. And yeah, certainly we prayed, but what we did is we mostly just gathered around in a circle. There were enough of us to circle all around the mom and the baby and worship. It was powerful. It was amazing. But it was just worship, right? I mean, to us, it wasn't anything different than maybe what we do a lot of times. And it was really interesting because, excuse me, as we continued to worship, the baby started looking around, started looking at us. That was something. And we noticed it. Now, it's a baby, so we couldn't ask the baby, can you hear us now? Have you been healed? That wasn't a possibility, right? But the baby started looking around at us. So, quite honestly, we went about our trip. In this case, we left England And we made our way to several other European countries, and we had that moment. We had that experience. But the story doesn't end there. We, like I say, had gone on to some other countries and had done the similar kind of thing, ministering in churches and so forth. But you know, as we were returning home, we had a layover back in one of the London airports. And it was fascinating because we're just, we're on our mission journey. And this was back in the day where security was very different than it is today at airports, and people could actually come to the gate with you and so forth. So we're in this airport for the purpose of a layover. We didn't expect anybody to be there to meet us. That was not necessary. So we weren't expecting anyone, except we would, do the whole process of a layover, move from one plane to the next and so forth. But we're walking through this airport concourse in London, and the pastor that hosted us and the pastor of the local church where we had gathered around and worshiped. We had worshiped as the mom and the baby were in the center of our circle. These two pastors met us in one of the concourses. They were like running to chase us down, and we could tell there's an excitement, there's an energy in them. What is going on here? We didn't expect to see them, so there's that element of excitement of just, oh wow, we didn't know we would see you here. We're glad to see you. And they were like, we had to come. And now get this. This was how big of a deal this was. They had driven the 2 hours from the Midlands of England down to London to meet us in the airport. And they came running to meet us, and they're like, we had to come and see you during this layover because we wanted you to know the mom has taken the baby back to the doctor, and the doctor has confirmed your baby was deaf, but your baby can now hear. I mean, that in itself is just, to me, amazing. It's miraculous, right? It's powerful. As a young man, me, late teens, early 20s, I was like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me that God blessed this mom and this baby this richly, and I got to participate in that? Wow, that opened my eyes. It opened my eyes to God's goodness and love and his care, but also to the fact that he really does want to use us. He wants to use me. He wants to use you. And this just marked me for life. To see God be so very good, as well as to see God use me. Wow. It was just so good. It's so rich. I mean, I even to this day, like I say, I mean, it's continuing to impact me. But you know what? The story doesn't end there. In many ways, the story gets even better because years went by and we continued to do mission trips, and we continued to go back to England, and we continued to have experiences and so forth. And years later, like 10 to 12 years later, we were back in a church in England in that same area. It was a different church than where we'd gathered and prayed for the lady, but we were back in that same area. And this young lady was in the church service. The one that had been a baby in the rest of the story was now a young lady. And she was there in that service. And you know what? She stood in the back of that service as worship was happening and so forth. She stood in the back because her hearing was so good that things were very loud. God had not only healed her, he had healed her really well, which again, amazing. But you know what? The story doesn't end there. Here's the deep, rich point in the story that again continues to impact me. We were able in that church service 12 years later, where this young lady is there and her hearing is just perfect. We got to meet the father. Now remember, in the beginning of this story, it was the mother and the baby that we gathered around and prayed. The father was not present, but the father was present in this service 10 some years later. And I got to meet him, and he said, you know what drew me to God? I was like, what? He said, the fact that God would love my daughter enough to heal her. Oh my goodness. It's wonderful that the young lady can hear. It's wonderful that she received her physical healing. That is dynamic and wonderful and powerful. But to me, to realize that the dad accepted Christ as his Savior, he was led to God because of God's goodness and love. And that man now knew Jesus for eternity because of that gift into his daughter's life by our loving God. Powerful, powerful story to me, still impacting to me to this day. And I pray that me sharing this story with you is something that impacts you, impacts your heart, touches you in a way that I hope you can see some lessons in there that will bless your life. You weren't on that trip with me, but I hope you got to live through that a little bit and realize this is a great example. This story is a great example of how good God is. So there you go. Thank you so much for letting me share. Thank you for joining Catalyst Chronicles. It honors me to be able to tell these stories, but also to have you listen. And I pray that they're fun for you, but also a blessing to your life, that there's a lesson to be learned there as well. So there you go. Thank you so much, and God bless you. Appreciate you very much, and I'll see you again on the next episode of Catalyst Chronicles.